Just finish your coffee, bro.
That was chai actually.
Oh, chai. Is it desi
And
chai?
yeah, man. Oh
Or
man,
is it?
desi chai, bro. I mean, it gives you that
Oh,
kick, you know. So,
yes.
um,
Episode
bro,
2,
we
bro.
made it. We made it, man. We made it. How many views we got on the first one?
It
Zero.
says 12. It says 12,
It's
but
probably us.
I think most
Yeah,
of it is just us.
yeah. Just me and my wife and my bunch of other kids that I don't know about. So 12
Probably.
views.
It's my wife as well.
um,
My wife probably saw the first 5 minutes and she's like, nah. And she just
no,
noped
my
out
wife
of
was
it.
bored. She was like, "Fuck, man, this is like fucking
Yeah,
boring. Like, and
exactly.
it's too long, you know." So I
Yeah.
was like, "That's
And
good.
the way
That's
I
good."
justified, it
Yeah.
is like they're not our target demographic, so it's okay.
That's it. Yeah. There is no demographic. I don't know
There
who
is
it
no
is. So,
demographic. I don't know what
all right.
demographic we're going to actually target.
Yeah. Yeah.
So today, we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff again.
What's on the
Tesla
menu?
Cybertruck finally is a reality.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
god.
gonna. Yeah, it is. I mean, it, in reality, in the sense that they now have a version that is now. It's been running around for a while, but now they have a bunch of versions that they're testing. So we'll
hmm
talk about it and
We'll talk
XAI
about
and
that.
stuff. Yeah.
Um, White House has apparently done some safeguarding regulation stuff around AI. We'll talk
Hmm.
about that. Here in Victoria, in our own backyard, the government has actually used AI cameras to catch offenders in traffic.
Hmm.
Also in Los Angeles or I think in New York, they've actually used AI to track bus lane violations, which is also quite interesting. Amazon Amazon is developing or has been developing an answer to Starlink from Tesla.
That's
Not
interesting,
Tesla
man.
actually,
No idea
Starlink
about
from
that.
Elon. Also, it's called Project Kuiper. I think I might be mispronouncing that, but we'll look into that as well. Truecall, which is a very interesting call blocking app, very
Yeah.
popular in India, Pakistan, and the subcontinent. Has an AI assistant that actually talks to the spam callers for you, and
Hmm.
we'll look at that as well. And there's some interesting events that have unfolded in Manipur, in India,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about that as well. So, where do you want to get started? Let's start with Cybertruck, bro. Cybertruck and
Yeah.
XAI.
So
It's
I
like the
think.
most.
Yeah. So how much do you know about Cybertruck? First of all, have
I
you
know a
like?
bit. I know.
Yeah.
I know the meme of like they were like, oh, the windows are indestructible, and then they hurl this like big
Yeah.
thing, and
Yeah.
boom, like just cracks, just shatters or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I remember. The memes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Cybertruck is the gift that just keeps on memeing. It's like one of
yeah.
those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll do a bit of a screen share, and I think most people, whoever probably does make it, for that one person who does not know what a Cybertruck is,
Bro, what is that
this here,
font, bro? That
it's
font,
it's
man. Oh my god.
yeah, I know your design brain has kicked in, but I think this is
The
more of a
hell,
graffiti thing.
bro?
But it's not official. That is not the official font that
Then
they
why is
use.
it on the
Mostly, it's like
website, bro?
at that time, I think when the truck, this Cybertruck sports
Oh my
car kind of a
god.
thing was revealed, at that time, that's the font that they used to reveal it. And then it was part of the whole laser light show and everything they did and all that, which was like, I don't know,
You
four or
see, you
five
see my
years ago,
face.
bro.
You see my
4 or
face.
5 years ago.
I'm having like a gut reaction to this. It's like,
All right. So,
yeah.
and it's an all stainless steel exoskeleton body. So the whole shell is built in one piece. Right. So there's no parts that are put together. So traditional car manufacturing, the way it works is you have different parts. Could be all the way up
Yep.
to 75 parts. So it includes the entire body, the outer shell of a normal car. Let's just take a Corolla or a Honda or any of the European cars, right? They actually stamp it all together and create that body. So what happens when the impact happens to the car at any point? You have to have beams and everything inside it to safeguard the passengers that are inside the body. So the exoskeleton in this basically is like a extra super durable 30x cold rolled stainless steel structure, bro. So and
Whatever
it's
that
got an
means, but
armor
yeah.
glass. Yes, the armor glass I think broke. I think that was where the meme comes from.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so it's like this monstrous thing that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb when it's driving through traffic. and it's got a solar mechanism to it as well at the back. I mean, it doesn't power the truck,
Oh my
but
god, there's a
yeah,
trailer as well. Oh
yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah. And there's like a small moped kind of
There's a
a,
moped as well. Oh
yeah,
dear.
yeah. And this is the interior seating and everything.
Oh,
So
the
it's like it's
seats look
like
nice.
getting a Land Cruiser or whatever, and you can go like
The
camping. So these
Barbie.
are all. This was all the material that was published and revealed when Cybertruck was announced, and it's got like plugs in it and everything that can power your tools, and you can power the whole fucking like you can probably power your own house if thunder strikes and you have an outage or whatever. And at that time when it did come out, it was the most ordered. It is still the most pre-ordered vehicle in the world. Like it's like there
Bro,
I think yeah.
can I just stop there for a second? We are now living in a world where we are all just pre-ordering vehicles.
Yeah, we just pre-ordered
It's not
everything.
like it's not like we're pre-ordering video games. Okay,
Yeah,
we are pre-ordering vehicles. Before we used to pre-order houses.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
should
yeah.
see the plan is to order the house.
Correct. Now you
it's
can order
everything.
it. You put $100 down. They are fully refundable. All right, and then you select what model of the Cybertruck you want. I think there's only one or two that are available. I think two or three, um, and they'll put you in a queue. And when the time comes, they will ask you that do you want to go ahead or should we give this car to someone else? And you give it to someone else. But it has like millions of dollars worth of
Pre-orders.
pre-orders have been registered. Yeah, and thousands of units basically. So they are set for like 1 or 2 years. Now coming to the idea of what we are talking about in terms of from today's perspective is the Cybertruck being announced for production. So for 4 or 5 years, they've been talking about. I guess that it's coming to market, it's coming to market, it's coming to market. So now they've said that we've done our testing and we are ready to roll it out, right? So this is where they're testing the Cybertruck, as you can see, right? So they're putting it through its paces and everything, and I think it all happens in Texas. That's where the construction will begin, and they'll also roll it out in Germany, and there's another. I think there's Fremont, California, and then there's one in Texas, right? So they
Bro,
have I think about three.
You know, and I know, until this comes to Australia and has dealt with the harsh Australian weather,
The harsh
This-
Australian weather,
this-
mate.
this is
built
not
tough,
gonna-
tough.
built tough, Oh, until that happens, this truck
Correct.
is
I think the tradie in Australia is the one who needs to test the Cybertruck because once it's
Exactly.
out here and it gets used in for by people who work in construction, basically the trade industry, that is where when I will like bow down to this vehicle and say, hey, you know what, you've done it. So this
because
is
right now it's the
production line.
Hilux, right? Right now it's like the Toyota Hilux.
It's the Hilux,
like the
yeah,
undisputed
Toyota Hilux.
champion of
but
the tradesman.
Tesla Model Y is the best selling car now, second to
The Model
Hilux.
Y, as in the 4-wheel drive,
No,
the
the
SUV.
Model Y. The Model Y is. This is the Model Y. Give me a sec.
So hang on, what is the SUV called? Is that the Model X?
The crossover one is the Model X. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the Model Y here. This one
It looks
is
like an
the
SUV.
second best-selling car in Australia.
In Australia. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Hilux is the first one, right?
And
Now,
you've
if
got the
we-
Model. I
Yeah.
mean, you have a Model 3, right?
I have a Model 3. So Model 3 is basically this is the hatchback version, and this is the sedan version, which is like you would say your Camry or whatever. So
Oh
that's the
yeah.
one I
Yeah. Okay. I get it now. All right.
and this is the Cybertruck that I just showed you. So now, if you look at basically, they had an earnings call where Elon Musk gave a bunch of updates and everything, but I'm more interested in the electric vehicle adoption that is happening. So this is obviously I think at the
factory.
the Texas factory, I think where they
There you
built
go.
the
Look
first
at
one.
how many Indians are in there, bro. Like, check it out. Like, it's like
Oh
pretty
man,
much.
yeah, lot of Desi people are in there.
Lot of
I think in
Desis
AI,
and
and
lot
they're
of,
mostly they're mostly in on the engineering side, not on the I'm sure that
Manufacturing
they're on the manufacturing side as well, but I think mostly
That was one of the things that actually stuck out to me when this
even
photo.
in
I
AI,
saw this
the
photo.
head of AI right now is a Desi guy.
When I saw this photo, I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of like brown faces in there. I was like,
Oh man,
interesting.
yeah, they have a lot of. I mean, not that kind of diversity, but they definitely have diversity of talent. You know what I mean? If you want to say it that way, which should be right. Now, just to kind of give you a bit of an idea, not the numbers, but you have to understand, right, how profitable these people are. Okay, they generated a revenue of $25 billion in a single quarter. There are 4 quarters in a year.
Mm.
That's $100 billion a year of
Yeah.
quarter. I mean, in of 1 year of 100
But
billion
is
bucks
that
the revenue, right?
but
And they are
is that
generating about and sorry, go for it.
so this is just the one quarter. I mean they haven't done it for a whole year. It's just
This is
Q2
this
of
is the past
2023.
performance. It does not include
Yeah.
the Cybertruck yet, and the Cybertruck will enter the market, which is the biggest market in America, which is the 4-wheel market. The truck market is the biggest market at the
So it's gonna
moment.
compete with the Ford F-150
The
Raptor,
Ford
that
F-150, correct,
yeah,
the
yeah.
electric one, right? So it's going to compete with that. And don't get me wrong, they're also very good. I mean,
Yeah.
Ford
The Ford
has
F-150s
survived.
are phenomenal. They're
They are
like
very good.
those
They're
things
bulletproof. They're bulletproof.
pretty much. That thing is basically built to dethrone
Last,
the
yeah,
the
they're built to
Hilux.
last. They're very good. Yeah, I mean, Hilux. I mean, Toyota is not that popular as a truck maker compared to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Ford and
Ford, yeah.
the Dodge Ram and all that. So these are their factories here, and it shows you how much they're building. So they're aiming. Toyota builds 10 million cars a year.
Mm.
Tesla is trying to get to that 10 million. They're at the moment aiming for 2 million by next year. Right? So they're compounding 50% every year. They're going for it. Right? Now,
Interesting.
there are various other what do you call? They're also building the semi truck. I think which I showed you.
The semi, yeah.
Yeah. So that'll come
Which is
in a
supposed to
while.
come in 2019, by the way. So, and
Correct.
it just completely missed
So
that mark.
I think the thing is that they are late on arrival. Their ETAs are never really clear, right? But when they do arrive, people just can't wait for their products. Their products are built in that way. So if you look at it, this is a market share
The hype market.
of electric, yeah, in different countries. So in Europe and especially in the US and Canada, it's taken over and is now 4% of the market. So Tesla's market share is 4% of the car industry.
So the
So
China market
it's
is
a
like pretty
$1 trillion.
interesting.
Yeah, it's a
Just
trillion
a
dollar
two
industry.
percent, just
Yeah,
a 2% increase in like China. That's like, it's
yeah.
like it'll be like
It's not
200
much.
million
It's
or
not
something.
much. But thing is that
No,
as
bro,
a
2%
company,
of
it's a big deal. If you're,
no
if
2%
yeah,
of 1.8 billion is a huge deal,
it's a huge deal. Correct. Yeah,
massive deal,
correct.
bro.
Correct.
Compared
Correct.
to
So
compared to 4%
yeah,
of 320 million, which is America.
yeah,
It's like not that much.
correct. So these are the cumulative. So this is the tech part of it. So artificial intelligence and software hardware. Four main technology pieces are needed to solve vehicle autonomy at scale. Extremely large real world data set,
That is it, yeah.
neural net
Neural net
training,
training.
vehicle hardware, which is already when they ship these cars, it comes with all the hardware. So my car has it. All these cars have it, and the software. The software is updated over the year.
And I think that's where XAI is going to actually
Yeah,
come in, where XAI is
correct.
going to be the AI platform that'll power these vehicles that are on
Yeah,
the road.
yeah, and I think it slightly has a different mission, but I think the learnings will be shared. This month, we are taking a step towards faster and cheaper neural net training with the start of production of our Dojo training computer.
Dojo training computer.
I'll
That's
tell you about
your
the
car
Dojo training
computer,
computer.
right? Yeah.
No, no, it's the computer that is built in that the data warehouse that they've built. So that is the Dojo. They call it the Dojo. This here, the internal projection of Dojo compute power. So this is when Dojo started production in July 23. Okay, this is where it's going to end up as projected top 5 entire world compute. It'll be in the top 5, and it's aiming for 100 exaflops.
It's not
So
teraflops, it's
already it's
exaflops.
sitting at about 20,000 teraflops or something around here.
Mm-hmm.
Already it's sitting at that. So it's one of the fastest AI neural net
Networks.
training computers in the world. It's known as the Dojo AI. They don't have photographs here, but if I find, and plus they have other businesses as well that are scaling up, which is energy. So their battery storage and all that, which you can
Yeah.
buy and store. It's also scaling up.
See, this is why that other project that we were looking at a couple of weeks ago, or actually last week, Neom, right? This is why Neom
Yeah.
seems like a pipe dream, because Neom, they don't have data sets that they're showing off like this, where they're like, okay, look, we have all these businesses, like they have that Hexagon, and they have that water filtration business thingy that they had, and the drone
Yeah.
business that they had, and I'm like, well, show me some real world like applications, show me like your projections, kuch to dikhao, like there's nothing there. It's just that, oh, we've started this business, we've started that business, okay,
Yeah.
great, carry on, buddy. Kind of stuff.
So, so I mean, good luck to them, man. I'm kind of a little bit. I know you're super skeptical, but I'm kind of a bit like,
No, I'm not super skeptical, but bro, the thing is that we've lived there. We've seen mega projects just go to complete waste. Like millions and billions of
Yeah.
dirhams or rupee,
Especially during the
or
2008 financial crisis, the real
yeah, there's
runs a
so much
report
money
into
that
all
they
that.
pumped into like all these things. The Jeddah Tower is just sitting there. It's like an
Yeah.
abandoned construction site right now.
Hmm.
Um, so
Wonder what
I'm
happened
just
to that
hoping.
one. Yeah. So I usually watch the B1M channel. They do a lot of
Mm,
architectural videos and everything, and
yeah,
they're
B1M, I
amazing.
know about them.
Yeah.
But I
So
hope, look, I really hope that Neom is actually real. Like I really hope, because the amount of jobs it
if
can
they
create.
deliver on 25% of what they've promised, even
Mm,
20%, it'll be revolutionary because most of the ideas in that project are revolutionary in terms of the
yeah,
way they're
no, no,
being
I
sold.
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Even if the line is like 25%, even if it's like 4 sections, it's still an amazing project.
Correct. Yeah.
They've built like 4 different panels of a city that is the height of the Eiffel Tower. That's amazing itself.
Correct. Correct.
And I would be like, okay, I would consider that a win. I mean, for them anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's hope, like, good luck to you guys, man, seriously.
Yeah. So I think I'll just stop the screen share.
Hmm.
So my my take from Tesla is that most people that don't actually understand, they call it as a car company. I mean, analysts and
Mm.
everybody, they see it as a car company. I see it as a technology company. So they are not just working on one kind of product. They have a very convergence kind of way of building products. So like they will work on different things and they all come together in a single product. Like if you look
Yeah.
at when the truck will launch, it'll from a manufacturing prowess, from a software automation prowess, from an AI. What they're doing is that they've collected millions of miles from all the cars, including my car that's standing outside. When you drive around, it collects all this anonymous data, and then it uses the Dojo AI to train the model, and then it gets fed back into these cars, and that is how autonomy gets built, where they're trying to get the cars to basically self-drive, full self-driving. And again, the aspirations for these companies to build these new levels of autonomy and new kinds of innovation is so high that it kind of feels unachievable. But at the same time, even if it delivers on 25 or 35% of it, think about robots that are, if you have training that is for the highest aspiration, which is highways, freeways, motorways, and all that, right? And going through busy urban traffic, and then you scale that down. Let's say you don't achieve that 100%, but you've been aiming for that highest distinction. You come down to even the 25% learnings of that can be used in so many environments. Like you could have cleaning
Yeah. Yeah.
robots in corporate offices. You could have robots that are running around in warehouses. That is already happening, but much much safer and much easier to run them because they have been running on these huge models. So the learnings from all these big aspirational services to scale it down to more simplistic ones, and if you pass that down, AI as a service or these models learnings as a service is what I think is going to happen next, right? So these
Yeah.
companies, they will take all their data, train all these things, and then maybe loan it out,
Yeah, but
license it out.
people are doing that. Like, individual developers are already doing it. They're building, like, little LLM models like, there was this one guy who built an entire LLM model using Python on his little MacBook M1. And yeah, he's just like, he trained it on a data set, and now he's like trying to find a
Yeah.
way to monetize it. I saw it on Twitter the other
Yeah,
day.
so I
That was
think
quite
the
interesting.
race, yeah, one of the recent realizations that I've had is the race to autonomy, the race to achieving um, large language models and solving a lot of the big problems that require a lot of processing of data is all based on compute power.
Yeah.
And compute
Yeah.
power is directly linked to not only manufacturing, innovation, and all that, but ultimately all is going to be powered by energy. So we are living through an energy crisis,
Yeah,
where gas
exactly.
prices are going
No,
up,
no,
electricity
exactly.
prices are going
And it's
up.
not just energy. It's not just energy. You're looking at just one part of the equation. So energy is like just one part of the equation. The other part is to cool down all of these massive, like, data centers, all these
True,
computers.
true.
You need like metric tons of water,
And efficiency. Basically, you need
clean water.
efficiency in the
It
system.
can't
Yeah.
be it can't be seawater. You can't just pull seawater in with all that salt and stuff going through, like, all the different boards and corroding everything. You can't use
Yeah.
seawater. It has to be fresh water, desalinated. It has to be pretty much
Yeah.
as good as like drinking water. to actually
Yeah.
go in there and cool down all of these things.
Well,
Um,
energy, I think, there are a lot of, I mean, Dune is one of them. There's a lot of books, there's a lot of
mm.
philosophical arguments based on that, all wars in the future will be fought on energy.
But Dune,
And
in Dune, actually, the war is fought over
yeah,
the spice, right?
the spice which
Which
comes
is
from
an
sand and
energy.
powers everything. No, no,
Spice
the
is.
idea of spice is that it actually it gave the civilization that advancement that it needed because of the
I thought
the
spice was
spice.
drugs, man. I was like, it's drugs, bro. They're all
It is
fighting on
drug. It is
drugs.
a drug for people who are on that planet, right? No spoilers, but
Hmm.
overall, it actually is a
It's been
source
a
of
it's been a
energy.
while since I read it, so I don't
Yeah,
remember
it's a
most of
source
it.
of energy and it powers the entire civilization that is present within Dune, right?
Yeah,
And the
okay.
future of it.
All I know is in Dune
Yeah,
they used the guy Frank Herbert. He used heavy inspiration from like Arabic
yeah, folk
culture and language.
tales and culture
Yeah,
and
to
yeah,
come
yeah.
up with like a lot of the stuff. Like they have like words like
It's
you
more
know
like Bedu culture,
it's
Bedouin
more like
culture.
yeah
Yeah,
Bedouin culture. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
The locals who are on Arrakis, right? They have like this. They wear those like big shrouds and they speak like a pseudo
yeah,
Arabic type language.
yeah. So I mean,
Anyway.
in a very might sound it might sound like a fantasy or a very hypothetical scenario, but I think it's not far away where we will
Mm,
have people
yeah.
who do know how to get to the solution
Mm,
and do know what we need to get there, but just because of compute power and just because of lack of energy, we are being held back.
mm,
And the idea is that that whole thing will snap back into place once we find a source of energy which is super abundant,
mm,
right? And look, there are a lot of sources of energy that are abundant. Like we have fossil fuels. I don't like to call them fossil fuels. I mean, I think they're just hydrocarbons, right? So, because fossil has a very negative connotation to it. Because we got to where we are today as humanity
because of
because of
fossil
burning of
fuels, yeah.
fossil fuels, right? Or hydrocarbons. And thing is that just because you have a lot of abundance of energy does not mean we can use it,
Mm,
right? A lot of the huge population on the planet does not actually believe in the idea of nuclear, right? They have a fear that comes with it, because
despite
of
it being the most cleanest energy you can actually
cleanest form
use
of
to,
energy, right?
yeah,
I actually think I've read into the whole nuclear thing as to why the fear
yeah,
is
yeah,
there,
yeah.
but it's so embedded deeply because of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki thing, and then the fallout from all the nuclear reactors going awry,
Yeah, the most recently the
in
one that
Japan
happened
and
in Japan,
Russia,
right? Yeah.
yeah, Chernobyl and all that. I think there's a huge amount of fear, and because of that, it's just culturally they cannot culturally, mentally, politically, you cannot just get to that point where we want nuclear, right? So nuclear
Mm,
is is abundant, but it's out of option at the moment in many countries. Then we have hydrocarbon again. We have all these climate change
mhm.
activists and protests who strongly firmly believe that hydrocarbons are doing climate change and
I
they're
mean, with
destroying the planet or whatever.
the most abundant form of energy that we have that we cannot realistically extract without a significant amount of energy. So you have to use more energy to extract the energy from that energy source is thorium, right? Thorium is found in pretty much all geological rocks. So any rock that exists, you can actually crush it and thorium can be extracted from it. The problem is to extract thorium out of rocks requires more energy than the energy that we will get from the rocks at the moment.
What is thorium, man?
Thorium it's a kind of thorium can be a radioactive element. There's a radioactive element of thorium, but thorium by itself is a stable isotope, and out of that
Okay,
stable isotope, you can also extract energy. And there have
all
been
right.
there's like some conspiracy revolving. I'm sorry, there's a lot of conspiracy around
Of course,
thorium.
man.
Of course, there's a lot of conspiracy surrounding like thorium and the thorium reactors. Like online, if you go and read about it, it's like pretty fascinating. Like people have actually come up with thorium reactors. So there is designs of like how can you build a reactor in such a way that it extracts energy out of thorium, which is the most abundant form of energy allegedly on
So
planet Earth.
once you get to thorium, does the return on investment make sense or not really? Even if
At
you
the moment, the way
extract thorium.
a lot of the news is actually being spun around thorium is that it requires you to put in more energy to extract a little bit of energy. So I think they need to figure out that equation and fix that whole extraction process properly. Because once they do that,
This is interesting, man.
it is seriously. There's like a whole bunch of documentaries online about how thorium is like the most amazing form of energy that is accessible.
Okay. Thorium is a weakly radioactive metallic chemical element with the symbol Th. Oh, so it's on the periodic table. Oh.
It's on the periodic table. Yeah, it's
And
not something new.
Atomic number 90. Thorium is light silver and tarnishes olive gray when it exposed to air.
It's
forming
exposed to air,
thorium
okay.
dioxide. It's moderately soft and malleable. So what are the occurrences? Wow.
See, there you go. Nuclear reactors. Just go up. It had a small section of on nuclear reactors.
Well, there is modern applications of it and potential use of nuclear energy.
Yeah.
If you jump to that, there's a lot of math.
No, but that's like this is a sub category of, there you go, thorium fuel cycle.
It's heat resistant for ceramics. So there's others as well. If you can add it to glass, it does other things, high quality lenses. So they do extract it, but they just don't.
They do extract it. It's one of the most widely available materials on the face of planet Earth.
All right.
But they just can't figure out how to actually take. And see, it says thorium-based nuclear power. You see that main article's potential use for nuclear energy.
This one here.
Yeah, thorium nuclear-based power.
So historically, they have given it a shot. I think after World War II, uranium-based nuclear reactors were built to produce electricity. These were similar
that's
to
uranium
designs that produce material for nuclear weapons. Okay. No, I mean it's giving you a history that look, it says early thorium-based nuclear reactors. So they have tried it in the 60s.
They have tried it. Yeah.
You know, benefits is it's abundant, not suitable for bombs. Oh, okay. I guess that is a benefit.
This can't go boom.
That's nuclear waste. It can't go boom. Fewer reaction startup ingredients, harvesting weapon grade plutonium efficiency. Okay.
There you go. So if you look at the
Can
disadvantages,
produce as much as 200 tons of uranium. Look at that. 1 ton of thorium can produce as much energy as 200 tons.
200 tons of that's
or
a high.
3,500,000 tons, like far out.
3 million tons of 3.5 million tons of coal.
Yeah, just 1 ton.
Just
1 ton of thorium can produce that much energy.
Yeah.
Mining thorium is safer and more efficient than mining uranium. Like, why are we not on it, mate? Why are we not on this?
So go down to the disadvantages. You'll see.
Oh, okay. Significant and expensive testing and analysis would be required. Yeah, but there's all these billionaires, sitting around the planet. I mean, come on. Like, I'm sure we can figure a way out to reduce that expense. Mm-hmm. Fabrication requires a higher cost than usual traditional solid rod fuels. Yeah, but
the problem is that if thorium comes in, a lot of people who are already in the industry,
as well.
It will actually completely... Yeah, but that's fine. It byproduces uranium. You can use that into another uranium nuclear reactors then, It's like the gift that just keeps on giving.
The gift that keeps on giving, yeah.
But you see, there's like a bit of conspiracy theory stuff happening there,
And just like the pharma industry, like any other industry, like automotive is like that, right? A lot of
you're like who's
so much crap about Tesla and electric cars. Like, oh, look at Elon, he's running around taking all his batteries, rechargeable batteries, and putting it together from the local supermarket or Costco or something, and building these cars.
Costco.
That
was this image of like Elon in the factory just going like hammering the freaking batteries.
Yeah, that's what. But in reality, the original founders of Tesla, who were the other investing partners of Tesla, they did actually take normal batteries and put it together, stitch it together to see, okay, will this work or not? So I think that's the main thing, right, about innovators or people who are in the business trying to break into it, is that they're not afraid to try even the most ridiculous ideas, right?
Yeah, the most stupidized ideas. You have to try the most stupidized ideas to get to the good stuff,
All right, so now moving on.
The
next one is...
What's this stuff with White House?
Sleepy Joe Biden, mate. Sleepy Joe Biden.
Oh my God, Joe
Biden. Him, I think he's awake at the moment, so let's look at what he has to say.
I've been joined by leaders of 7 American companies who are driving innovation in artificial intelligence, and it is astounding.
You're
Artificial
just like
intelligence
waffling and
or
running through the script, man.
promises an enormous promise of both risks to our society and our economy and our national security, but also incredible opportunities.
What kind of
Incredible
drugs do you think
opportunities
he's on? Like
to help
what
students
medication
and
do you think he's
workers
on?
Oh,
Look
prosper
at him,
bro,
man.
from the
he's on top.
opportunities that are
Whatever he's on
enormous.
is like that
They have
that preem
announced that
stuff.
these 7 companies have agreed
What?
Whatever it is he's on the premium stuff. Like the premium
He's
of
on
the
the.
premium
He's
stuff.
definitely on the premium. Yeah.
which the companies will implement immediately underscore 3 fundamental principles: safety, security, and trust.
Bro, pause it for a second.
First, the companies have an obligation to
This is
make
like
sure
the 3 fundamental principles. It's like the
Safety,
3 laws of
security, and
robotics.
trust.
It's like a robot will not harm a human being unless and until it's just
Yeah.
their
if
technology
Isaac
is
Asimov
safe
was alive today.
before releasing it to the public.
Yeah. So I think there's no point watching the whole video. But
No,
anyway,
just watch
so
it. It's okay. I haven't seen this, so let's just watch
You
it.
want to listen to it? Okay, go.
Yeah, let's listen to it. It's just fine.
That means testing the capabilities of their systems, assessing their potential risk, and making the results of these assessments public. Second, companies must prioritize the security of their systems by safeguarding their models against cyber threats and managing the risk to our national security and sharing the best practices and industry standards that are necessary.
Is he
Third,
reading off
companies
the
have a duty to
teleprompter?
earn the people's trust and empower users to make informed decisions labeling content that has been altered or AI generated, rooting out bias and discrimination, strengthening privacy protections, and shielding children from harm. And finally, companies have agreed to find ways for AI to help meet society's greatest challenges, from cancer to climate change, and invest in
Hang on.
education and new jobs to help students and workers prosper from the opportunities, and there are enormous opportunities of AI. I think these leaders, and I thank these leaders that are in the room with me today, and their partnership. These commitments are real and they're concrete. They're going to help
Whoa.
industry fulfill its fundamental
Yeah, definitely
obligation to
concrete.
Americans
Mhm.
to develop safe, secure, and trustworthy technologies that benefit society and uphold our values and our shared
Yeah, he's
values.
reading off a
Let me close
teleprompter.
with this. We'll see more technology change in the next 10
It's like his
years
tone.
or even in the next
Bosco?
few years than we've seen in the last 50
His tone
years.
doesn't get affected. He's just going on that like one thing. He's
Yeah.
like,
He's like on
like
this
if I
monotonous,
read
like,
if I
line.
read the stuff right on the side, right, where it says a once in every 7.5 million year event is unfolding in the Antarctic, and it has scientists scrambling for answers. Australian households throw out an average of $2,500 in food every year. Here's how you can start reducing your waste. I need my
Such a
children.
lefty comment,
Susan
though.
has spent 11 years fighting to be reunited with her 2 children. Like he's just reading off like a prompter, definitely. So it's interesting. Okay, so basically the White House is now officially entering the chat, like with when it comes to
They're
AI.
entering the chat, mate. Yeah, so 7 companies leading the development of artificial intelligence have made. So I guess Microsoft is in it or whatever.
Yeah,
So
obviously,
basically, they have not. I mean, think about it, right? Look at what this means.
bro,
7
this is like
companies
4D
leading
chess, right? So
have
all these
made
7
voluntary
companies.
commitments.
I know, but these 7
Voluntary
companies,
commitments.
what they've done is they've
They will
basically said, hold
bro,
on,
it's the classic scenario
yeah,
where the companies, the corporations will decide what the rules should be.
exactly. So
It's
this
like
is the
Microsoft and
corporate.
Google and Amazon have decided what is good for AI because
Yeah.
Microsoft and Google and Amazon are the ones running AI. Like,
Exactly. So this
That's
is
what's
like
gonna
the
happen,
corporation.
yeah.
So the corporation is basically telling the government, "Hey, mate, we'll regulate ourselves. You don't need to jump in. You have entered the chat. We've acknowledged that you've entered the chat, but let us do our chat.
Leave
and
it
you
to
just
us.
be the silent. Like you be silent in
leave
the
it to
background
us.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alphabet, Meta, Amazon, Anthropic, Inflection, OpenAI. ये चीज़ सारा. All the players, bro. They're all the players.
All the big players are in it.
All the big
and,
players.
look at all these guys in the suits, mate. That's the one.
So
It's like
that guy
dude,
over
the
there
whole
thinks like,
thing. We welcome the president's leadership in bringing the tech. Like what leadership? Hammer out concrete steps. This is a new one, man. I'm going to use this at work. Hammer out concrete steps.
that
Or
will
like
make
in Australia, they used to
AI
call it like let's
that
nut it
will
out.
help.
We'll nut this
That
out.
will help make AI safer, more secure, and more beneficial to the public. How?
Microsoft said in a blog post on Friday.
No, but how? This is what my question will always be, okay, take it how? You're saying
Well,
you
they're
make
saying they're
it
going to
safer.
watermark AI generated content. so it'll all be watermarked, like
But then that's
images,
that's another
audios,
way for them
whatever.
to make money, bro. Now it's like, okay, pay for like pay us to remove the watermark. They'll
That's it,
just say
brother.
that.
That's it.
It's
Yeah, I mean, it's like the whole concept of private corporations getting together to come up with regulation is a complete joke. It happens in pharmaceutical industry all the time. Happens in agriculture all the time, right? It's happened in automotive industry.
bro. It happened in the 50s
It
with the
happens in
smoking
all the
industries,
major
right? With the
industries.
tobacco
Yeah, yeah,
industries.
it happened in the smoking industries. Correct.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, US lags behind EU in AI regulation. Like I mean, just putting
No, it
a
doesn't.
bunch
It
of
doesn't lag
words to
behind.
paper.
It's just the companies just control the US better. That's all, and they don't control the EU people as much.
Well, it says that if you have used Chat GPT, you would have to disclose that it's an AI generated content. So, if I just recently did my assignment using complete Chat GPT, bro.
So
I
now you
use
have to
Chat
say
GPT to
this
generate the
assignment
entire.
was
Yeah,
used. ChatGPT was used to complete this assignment.
yeah. I think
But
that's
then,
what
but then
they're
here's
looking
okay.
for.
Here's my
Yeah.
counterclaim to that, right? You're gonna start actually disclosing, okay, you've been using ChatGPT to do X, Y, and Z. Now, when does that become kind of a moot point when everybody then starts using it? Imagine like you have like 100 papers provided to a journal for peer review, and out of the 100 papers, all 100 papers say ChatGPT was used to do any work. Will the journal reject all 100 papers? I doubt it. The journal will be like, well, everybody's using ChatGPT. What's the point of just disclosing this? I don't know. It's just
I think what matters most is people's ability or acceptance of it. Like I'm actually, I mean, a lot of people are against using AI to get the work done.
yeah,
I'm actually for it. So if I
yeah, me too,
if
man.
I was running my own business and I was an entrepreneur, or if I had full autonomy to run a group of people the way I see is best fit to produce a service or a product,
Yeah,
I would all be encouraging to use AI, because when it comes to AI, I think each one has a responsibility when it comes to the way you use it, right?
yeah,
And I think we're living in a time where we have no option but to trust the trust people to do the right thing with AI, and if they're not going to do it, you can't stop them.
exactly. Because big tech will do what big
So
tech does for money. They'll do whatever they
yeah,
want for money.
correct. And it's adding value, man. I mean, the big tech knows that it'll speed up a lot of things. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like there's a very good talk. There's a couple of talks from Imad Mustaq. Okay, I think if I'm pronouncing his name right.
Yeah, stability.
He the stability AI guy, right? So he said that. Um, then again, take everything with a grain of salt nowadays that people say, right? I mean, he obviously is the CEO of Stability AI, right? So of course he's going to say positive things only. And yes, he is talking about the negative factors that
Is he
could
a CEO or
arise.
is he the founder? I think he's just the founder.
I
Stability
think
CEO
he's
is
a
somebody
founder.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
founder, CEO, yes, but he has game, if you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to
he's
talk
got game. Yeah.
from that
He got
perspective. Yeah.
game. Yeah.
So he's got game, brother. So he tells it how it is, and I think he's very transparent compared to some Altman. When I listen to his talks, it's always that Zuckerbergy kind of feeling comes.
Yeah, I know,
You
I know.
talk, when you listen
I
to
know.
the trust factor is not there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
the
He's
person
he's so
might,
straight faced. Sam Altman, he's like,
yeah.
it's like,
Sam
and
Altman's like that
you're
when he
like,
talks
yaar
to you,
bhai,
right? So
has to
you're
de,
like,
thoda
yeah,
to smile kar, like, show me your teeth
yeah,
or two, mine,
exactly,
like, be
yeah,
happy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Blink, bro,
so
blink.
Imad, right? He says that Imad says that the blue collar jobs will not be impacted at the
Mm.
moment by AI. What will be impacted obviously is the white collar jobs. So far, a lot of the automation that has taken place, it has impacted the blue collar jobs, right? The advancement in machinery and hardware and robotic,
Yeah,
arms
yeah.
that do certain process again and again, they've kind of removed a lot of the middle layers, and those middle layers were all mostly blue collar jobs. Now, in white collar, he said that the white collar person will be replaced by a white collar person who knows how to use AI.
Yeah.
That is the major difference. So,
And that's
as
the
you said,
analogy. That's the
yeah,
analogy that I gave, like when we had our little chats every now and again. The analogy I gave was of that of a baker, right? A baker in the 10th century or in the 16th century, there would be like an army, like of bakers just trying to make like a few croissants. Now you've got the machine. You will have like one baker and you will have three machines. So one machine will just mix the dough, the other machine will flatten the dough, the last machine will it'll roll the dough, but it's up to the baker to decide how much each machine should roll and how much like what the measurements are, because the
True.
machine can't just do that. Um, but that's it. That's basically it. So the baker is now a product manager, a line manager, and that's what you, me, everybody will become now. We'll all become product managers,
True.
line managers of our own little domains, instead of
Yeah.
having
So
like 10 people doing the same job.
when it comes to regulation, a lot of people believe that I'm not for regulations, by the way. So I stand in opposition to the idea of regulating anything. You know, certain things, yes, if you're living in a government that looks after law enforcement and certain things, I kind of agree for the moment until better systems of governance come into place. We should have the state involved and there should be regulation. But when it comes to technology, regulation in reality, the reason I don't believe is not because I think government can't do it better. I just believe that it's not possible to regulate in the first place. You can't. It's not possible to regulate anything. So I
I
mean,
mean, in
if you
terms
talk
of
about
certain
it,
certain
sorry.
industries, like say the medical industry, the medical establishment, you need some kind of regulation there, because otherwise, how are you gonna like standardize treatment? You know what I mean? Like if you have like an ear infection, how would you know? Okay, according to
That's a
regulations, this is supposed to
whole,
be the
yeah, that's a whole different
protocol.
caboodle to open up. Yeah, so I think in the medical industry, it's the pharmaceuticals that have a pharmaceutical industry and the medical hardware industry. That is where the
No, no.
standardization comes
Even
from,
even even
right?
the actual hospitals itself, like the way doctors are supposed to give treatments. And the only reason I can speak about this a little bit is because like I have doctors in the family, and I've
No,
seen
but
how
isn't
they
it
work
true
and
that
how.
it's country to country in the modern world
Yes,
in the
it is
modern
country.
world
It's
in the Western society, medicine definitely has a lot of regulation, best
yeah,
practices, and everything put in place. But if
yeah.
you go to the other parts of the world, like for example, you go to Pakistan, you can walk into a dispensary, get any drug you want. There is no
Yeah.
prescription required,
No, 100%, hundred
right? And
percent.
I think that operate and that is an operation. That operation, so that school of thought is there's no regulation, so that school of thought is
But
kind of prevails throughout Southeast Asia as well.
yeah, but you see, there's as a result of that, as a result of you walking into any dispensary and just getting whatever you want in Southeast Asia right now, we have what is effectively people who have severe antibiotic allergies. So there are allergies to antibiotics, and there is resistance to antibiotics as well.
So
Because
they
for
they
even the
they
most
take antibiotics for anything.
Yeah, because they take antibiotics for anything, and they won't just take like mild antibiotics. They'll take some really strong stuff. Like, oh, you've got a cold. That's it. Might get started on augmentin. Get started on like
Yeah, even in
amoxicillin, which is like
Australia,
the
man,
most.
people have moved off Panadol, man. They go for
Yeah.
codeines and Nurophens and like really heavy duty
Mm.
codeine based painkillers.
Codeine based painkillers. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's
but my understanding is that the privatization of like even till today, if you walk into a private hospital, you get way better treatment. At least the
Yeah.
case in Australia is than the public sector,
No,
right?
it's anywhere. You go to
So
India. You go to
it's
India. Private
anywhere.
hospitals is still
Okay.
like top notch.
Yeah. So, but yes, but they overall do have a governing body. But I kind of feel that the regulation game that government is was very late. Government was the last component that came into the idea of regulating
Government always
how
comes in late. It always
they
comes in
came
late.
late. So in reality, 90% or 80% of best practices like washing hands and taking care and all that journals that were published in the past in the 60s, 70s, the papers were written or like if you look at what is it, Madame Curie, or is it who's the lady who built the first visualization? Do you know that?
Mhm.
She's very famous. So the first visualization, it'll tie back into medical because it was started in medical relation. Um, I think it's Madame Curie or was it? There's another one.
Oh, are you talking about Florence
History of
Nightingale?
Florence Nightingale, bro. So if you look at Florence
But Florence Nightingale wasn't the
Nightingale,
first person to actually advise on hygienic product,
no, no,
hygienic.
no, she wasn't the first, but she built the first data visualization. And I'll show you the
Yeah, she built the
picture.
first data visualization, but there was a Hungarian doctor who
Yeah,
basically said through his observations, this Hungarian doctor, he basically observed that because this is before germ theory, this is 1847, way before
yeah,
germ theory. This doctor hypothesized that these pregnant women were dying basically during
yeah,
childbirth
yeah.
or
If
after
you just
childbirth.
wash your hands, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so this doctor came up and said, look, if we just wash if the person who's delivering the baby, if they just wash their hands before they deliver the baby, there is significantly better outcomes for mothers. And he got laughed
Correct.
out
Yeah,
of like the medical establishment. Oh yeah, this
yeah,
one. Yeah, I know
yeah.
this one. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so this one, yeah. So this is the first visualization that was done by Florence
Mm.
Nightingale, and this one is a diagram of the causes of mortality
Mortality
in the army
in the army
in
in
the
the
east.
east.
Okay,
Mm.
and the blue wedges represent areas for the deaths per thousand per annum among the troops
Among the troops from
from
Italy.
something diseases that are mitigable, mitigable or preventable types, and there's a list of all
Mitigatable
that.
or
So
preventable types. Yeah, it's very old
yeah,
school English.
and yeah, yeah, of course, and here is all the charts and everything that she built.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
the number of deaths and footmen, foot guards, and sorry, foot guards, and you can see here this is the
Mm.
chart that was built later down the low. So I think what we were seeing earlier was
Was the
not
hand
probably the
drawn chart?
final version.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hand drawn one. So I mean, look at this, man, far out. So but the main thing is just not a visualization. She actually nailed a lot of things in one go. She made a
Mm.
case for why we need more support or why we need to pay attention to this. But at the same time, she
Mm.
told a story.
Mm.
Storytelling is a
Storytelling.
huge thing. So
100%.
you're telling
Storytelling
a
is a
story
huge thing.
about the problem. Once you start telling a story about telling a story about the problem correctly, then you can start making cases for, okay, what do I need from you now?
Yeah, it
So
becomes like the whole meerkat situation, right? Everybody just stands up and goes,
yeah,
"What? What?"
correct. So yeah, so I think that coming back to it, we kind of went through
We
the
went a
whole
bit
idea of
overwhelmed.
like the
Yeah.
medical community regulation, why regulation is required in medical, to where we are right now. The point I'm trying to make is that there are people, even when regulation did not exist, were able to kind of create best practices, like
Mm.
the answer to how do I go to management or to people in power and tell them, okay, how can we stop these
Mm.
deaths from happening in soldiers, or the answer, I mean, the story you told about what is the guy's name, the one who said we need to wash hands. Even I read that
I
story.
forgot what his name.
That,
Ignaz. He's a
you wash your
Hungarian name.
hands
It's like
basically,
Ignaz
and
something.
yeah, and the number of deaths
Yeah.
will just drop in that whole hospital. Number of deaths just
Yeah.
drop
No, he says that the
just by
outcome
washing hands.
for post operative outcome for mothers will be
He
better.
could not
He
prove
kn-
it, but he realized it. I think
he
that was another part of
instinctively kind
story
of
that
understood that there's something inherently
can
going wrong here.
somehow it's related, not washing
Yeah.
hands and not washing hands, right? So
Mm.
it's the gut feeling thing as well. So I think
Mm.
that is where innovation, and so I kind of felt that this industry already knew what is best
Mm.
for the business, and government just came at the last moment. And the reason I think why the government is involved is because a lot of money is being flushed into that area by
Yeah.
government, and a lot of that flushed money ends up among people who create medical hardware and the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is you're going to have in the future, you're going to have people who are working in these AI regulatory areas leaving that area and then joining AI companies eventually, or people leaving AI companies and then coming into the regulatory area.
Yeah, so you mean there'll be a transfer of knowledge, I mean, or
There will be
the
there will
people
be a
with one
link.
domain will move into another domain.
Yeah, it's like during the financial collapse. Have you seen the movie The Big Short?
Yeah,
Okay, in The Big Short, they show this whole sequence where there's this young SEC, woman in like a swanky hotel. Okay, she's like enjoying her vacation or something, and she looks at this one guy, and she goes like, "Oh my God, that's the guy," and she's trying to basically just smooch him, like she's trying to woo him or whatever. And then the guy says, "Isn't he from like Goldman Sachs? Aren't you guys supposed to be regulating him?" And then she says, "Oh, yeah, we're supposed to be regulating him, but whatever." Basically, the idea is that she is gonna smooch Goldman Sachs. She's part of the SEC. She smooches this Goldman Sachs guy, so she can end up in Goldman Sachs making that big
Of
moolah.
course. Revolving doors.
Revolving doors. That's the whole concept. So now this is gonna happen with AI. Just as anything can happen in government,
Yeah, that's something I did
it's
not
gonna
think
happen
about.
in
You're
AI.
right. A lot of people, because AI is nothing but regulation in code.
Basically.
You create regulation, you create rules, and you put it into a code, and then that code will do based on regulation.
Yeah.
But the code might or might not stick to regulation as well, right? That's
The
another
code
problem,
will
right?
8 times out of 10 it will stick to regulation, but that 2 times that it doesn't stick to regulation, you need government intervention. You need I guess lobbying happening in the government to let your regulation just pass through, or for you to create new regulation.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? So you've got your code, you got government, which is regulation, and then on top of that, you have fucking
You have the money
lobbyists,
makers.
right? They basically,
No, you have
control
the
as to
lobbyist,
what
and you
regulation
have
gets
above the
built.
lobbyists, you have the corporation.
Yeah,
The
yeah, sorry.
corporations
Yeah. So
fund
you
the
have
lobbyists.
4 layers. You have the
Yeah,
code
yeah.
layer, you have the government, which is regulation, then you have the lobbyists, and then you have
The
the
corporation.
the overarching part of the pyramid, which is the corporation.
Yeah.
So through that, basically, it is the influence that will go through all those layers, and that code is nothing but biased code that lets go certain amount of regulation and keep certain regulation in place
Yep.
to stop other competition from coming in.
Exactly.
Real
Exactly.
competition coming in, and then that code will do what it is. So, for example,
See, this is
a maid was
another
telling me-
reason why. This is another reason why the whole of the US tech industry, right? They fear TikTok. They fear TikTok because, bro, TikTok is like, it's like Wild West. It's
it has better
anything
algorithm
goes.
than
No, because the algorithm of TikTok
it is
is
eating
built.
into their business, bro. It's eating into
No,
their
it's
business.
eating into their business, but the reason it's eating into their business because the algorithm that TikTok is using is basically built on data without restrictions. The Chinese government, or ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, they are basically spying on their own people in China.
Yeah.
They're learning from them and they're feeding that into the algorithm. So the algorithm is super sharp. It's on point. When they take that data set and then they apply it to the American population, and here's the thing,
Kind of works
you
for
know,
them as well.
you know about the whole duality of TikTok, right? Like in China, it's a different kind of app, but in the US and the West, it's a very different kind of app. Do you know about that?
I understand there's a duality, but what is
Yeah.
the duality? In sense that in
Okay, the
America, I think
duality
it
is
shows
in
the
China.
worst of America.
No, in China, they
That's
are
what my
TikTok.
understanding
In China, TikTok actually promotes content that is wholesome. So, somebody got a promotion at work. Oh, this person has been working for 20 years, and somebody makes a video about it, shares it on TikTok. That kind of stuff gets really promoted.
Put the
People
time
working
in,
hard
put
for
the time
the
in,
CCP.
yeah.
Put the time in. People, boat yard workers, really working hard on getting the boat into the water and out of the water and doing repairs. People who are working in manufacturing, hard jobs. Like really
Unity,
hard. होता ना वो
collaboration,
dirty jobs with Mike, वो जो होता ना Discovery में, that whole thing, like that kind of stuff, that's been shown on
hammer and the
TikTok.
sickle.
Yeah, and the woman working in the fields, working in nature, making all that food, from nature, that whole thing is in TikTok in China. But in America and the rest of the world, it's like all these preteens dancing in front of the camera, wearing like provocative clothing, and it's that kind of
Twerking.
stuff. And twerking, that's the kind of stuff that's like being promoted in the
As
West.
Ayatollah Khomeini said, the great Satan. Kya?
The great Satan, the great Stan,
Yeah,
yeah.
The great Stan, the man.
The great Stan.
Like,
So that's what's happening.
yeah, but
And it's a
it's
culture war.
interesting because that's what's going to happen. I think regulation is just code. I mean, that's what's going to be. Because, have you heard, is it true that ChatGPT, when you actually quote it to get a quote of it from Socrates or any of the older philosophers, it changes.
Oh, yeah, it
the word
changes,
man
yeah.
or woman to person.
It's true. That is actually
heard
true.
about
I
that?
tried that. I tried that.
Is it
I
true?
tried that. I'm like, yeah. So Socrates and basically any of these Greek philosophers, they basically
Yeah.
during their time women are treated like trash, basically. Okay,
So what do I need to type in ChatGPT right now if I wanna
like give me a quote from
get that?
Socrates or something like that. You know,
Give me a quote from Socrates about man and his greed.
don't say man and his greed, just say greed. You know, then he'll give you instead of using a very identifiable pronoun
about
like a man or a he or a she,
Yeah,
it'll say
yeah.
person or a they. Like that's what it'll do. I mean, you can do this later, but that's
It
exactly
says
what
I'm not
happened.
an Athenian or a Greek, but a citizen of the world.
Don't worry about that. I think they changed it
No.
after like people like came
Or
up with this
maybe
thing that
people mentioned it and they changed it.
yeah, and then they probably changed it like
Because someone was
I'm not
telling me
giving
that
quotes
it
anymore.
did make the news.
Yeah.
It did make the news, but I'm kind of skeptical with all those things. I'm not sure. If
No,
it's something
it's
like,
real. I tried that when I first saw the news item. I was like, oh shit, I gotta try this, and I tried it, and I was like, oh, you Chat GPT, you slag guy, you know,
you slee motherfucker.
you know, slag
But
guy.
I think.
Anyway,
But
let's
why
okay.
is that happening though? That's the question.
It's
Why are they
well,
doing
it's
it?
bro. It's inevitable. It's an inevitable, in the progress of humanity towards anything, whatever it is, whether it's technology, whether it is society, whether it's anything. Whenever you have a lot of human beings impacted by anything, everybody just puts their hand up and says, "Oh, gee, government, where are you, man? You know, stuff's happening over here. Where are you?" Um, to some extent, like I'm kind of a bit 50-50 on this. I think some regulation is good. The problem is how is that regulation enforced? That is my major issue. Now, speaking of regulation and government and AI and corporations, okay, when they all go hand in hand, cuff hands, we have some interesting development that has happened in Victoria and that also recently happened in New York. So I'm gonna share that right now here. And bro, our days of fidgeting in our in our little cars, where we're like, oh yeah, you know,
Yeah.
check this out.
Almost 3,000 Victorians have been caught using mobile phones or not wearing a seatbelt while driving. New camera technology utilising AI has detected the offences over a 1-month trial period.
This happened last month, bro.
Caught red-handed, these images showing Victorians driving while using their mobile phones.
You can see that they've
That's
got
how I
something
drive,
down
man,
there.
all
They're
the
looking.
time. You know. That's
Lying on
that's
her
my
lap,
style.
even exposed without their seatbelts on.
Wear your seatbelt. Put your phones away. Hands on the steering wheel. And drive a car.
Prompting that warning is new data, revealing in their first month alone, the high-tech AI cameras caught more than 1,500
Mike,
drivers
that's a lot
and
of dough that's gonna come
225
in, you know?
passengers not wearing
You charge
seatbelts in the car.
$200
And almost
per
1,200 drivers
driver.
were snapped using their mobile phones.
1,500 plus 1,200.
Not wearing
so
seatbelts.
there you go. Let's do
Bro,
the math on that.
it's
$300 plus
$395.
1,200.
It's $395.
No, even if I go halvesies, that's $500 million a
it's a
year.
lot of money, bro.
Of revenue.
That is so much
so
money.
far just in one trial. Yeah, that's a
This
lot
is this
of
is
money.
one try.
Government is gonna-
Meaning these this is just a trial. Meaning these things haven't been enforced. Like
Yeah, once they enforce, I
cops-
think the numbers will drop. I guess a lot of
no,
people
they've
get
started.
aware and they're
They've
not-
started. It started on the 1st of July. So if you are in a
Have they started
metropolitan,
fining people?
yes, it's already started. So if you are in metropolitan Melbourne, or in Greater Melbourne, or in Ballarat and other major countryside towns, this system is in place. The cameras are in
Thanks for
place.
letting me
I've
know,
seen
man.
three.
That's how I've been driving so far.
Bro,
I was
I've
holding
seen
a
three.
phone in my hand today when I was driving.
I've seen 3 cameras in Ballarat already. Okay, they look like big giant white with big black LEDs on top of them. Anyway, just
Yeah, like a solar
play
panel
this.
kind of an outfit.
Yeah, they look like a solar panel
Is
without the
very difficult
segmentation.
to comprehend in a time when most of us, even myself, have
That's what they look
grown
like.
up
Check it out.
with compulsory seatbelt wearing.
That's what it looks
stretching
like. So it looks like that right now, but I think this is like a prototype model. They probably have like a much more much less invasive
Wait
version
till
of this.
Dubai comes out of that.
Bro, Dubai probably already has it. Dubai probably already has this. They're just
They'll
not
have a much
advertising it.
advanced and a much advanced version.
Out to look into
Look at that.
cars and angle
It
to
catches
catch
video, bro.
drivers doing the wrong thing. The cameras capture high-resolution images. So far, lawbreakers have gotten away with just a warning, but from July 1, that changes. Drivers will be slapped with 4 demerit points and a $577 fine.
$577, bro.
Even if you're getting
I don't use it in the car.
thousand
Look at this guy.
month.
They just interviewed some tradie guy. Okay, he's like, I don't use it much.
It's too smart these days.
This is one of 3 cameras currently on our roads.
That's
They'll be
$500,000 bucks a
deployed to
month, bro. Just in
around
Victoria, if you get 1,000 people.
locations across Melbourne and country Victoria.
If
Good
you're not
investment.
wearing your seatbelt, and if you're on your phone and driving, you will get caught.
You will get caught.
That guy's funny, man. That guy's funny.
Anyway,
Don't take him seriously.
So that is just Victoria. That's just in Victoria.
The prime.
This is America, New York.
What's
AI technology now helping to battle bus lane violation.
This guy, Rich Jamiro, explains in today's
Anyway,
text
don't worry,
market.
this
You're
guy
going to buy a
was in the
truck?
and
Few for cities across 7 million trips last year, but not all were on schedule.
In other areas of the corridor, our average bus speed is about 3 miles per hour.
Why so slow? Cars improperly parked or stopped can bring bus lanes to a crawl.
The question becomes, how do we in other cities keep vehicles that should not be in the transit lane out of the lane?
The answer may
There
lie
you go.
in
Bro,
AI.
you see the
Santa-
size of that camera? You see how small that is compared to the
Yeah.
one that they were using in Victoria? That will be the size of our cameras. It'll be so small, we won't be able to tell that there's a camera there, and it'll just catch you.
Monica among a growing number of cities exploring the use of AI cameras that can spot violations
This is
and
all that
issue
Chinese
tickets.
tech right here, bro.
Man, in the future, when autonomy comes in, you go to the showroom to buy your next car, or looking online to buy your next car, like the way Tesla is doing it now. I can guarantee you that one of the main features of the car would be that, save yourself from all the thousands of dollars worth of fines every year
Exactly.
and pay for this subscription service here.
Exactly.
That kind of, does all
Exactly.
the driving for you so you can avoid all the violations.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Exactly. Bro, I was going with that exactly. This is where
Kill
I was
me
going
right
to lead
now,
this.
bro. Bury me. Fucking just bury me. Kill
I
me
would die
right
on
now.
that hill,
I ain't fucking putting up with this shit.
Nay,
This is
100%.
ridiculous,
100%. This is, but bro, check it out. Okay, look at how fast this happened. AI was just revealed last year to the masses. Already
That's
this
what I'm
year,
telling
it's happened.
people. That's what I'm telling people. People don't believe me. Like, I watched the new Mission Impossible, right?
Yeah.
And no spoilers, but the things
There's
that they
stuff
showed
in there.
that movie, that is like 3-4 years ago in the making. The movie's
Yeah.
been shot through COVID, bro. It was being shot during COVID. How can they so correctly talk about all that information and predict it so well? And it's happening right now. So I'm kind of like thinking that sometimes I feel like they're planted. All this information is planted
Probably.
as a distraction while they keep taking your... they're scaring people about AI so much so that they can create a lot of regulation. And that regulation is doing nothing but encroaching on your rights.
Exactly. No, exactly, 100%. That's the
whole
whole
thing
aim
is
of
to
regulation.
scare you about AI and then encroach on your rights, by creating more regulation that only benefits the corporations and
And the government.
people who are in power, lobby,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
government.
Yeah, but look at this, right? Like if you just think about this situation, right? Who gave this company the right to photograph my vehicle? Who gave them the right to do this? You understand what I mean? My vehicle is being photographed without my permission. You see? But the problem is that because my vehicle is on the road, and when it's on the road, it's a
in
public
yeah.
situation, and I have given away all my rights already for my vehicle to be photographed, for my number plate to be photographed, all that stuff. It comes in the law that I already signed on to when I got my driver's license. But check this out.
When you got your
instantly.
One of them
Bro,
is
it gives you a fine and it goes to your thing instantly. Okay? Instantly it gives you a fine on the spot.
like on the
our compute
comes to your
box.
mobile.
Now, this is
Check
the
out the
brain
size of the
behind our-
compute box. That is it. That is it, bro. That's the size of the compute box that is on board the bus itself. It's so tiny. That tiny ass compute box is doing all that stuff, calculating it, reading the
So the bus
reading
is
the
now
number.
going around issuing violations, bro. So
Basically.
actually, it's in their benefit to have buses just running around empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're making
yeah.
money from that.
Exactly.
Wow.
So if you park in the
only
bus lane,
in America, bro. Only the United States of America you can
but
have
bro,
that.
this system is going to be in the
This is
UK
ridiculous.
as well, because in UK they have transit bus lanes as well. It's not there in Australia yet, but bro, imagine if you have this kind of a Australia will be like, "Mate, we need to create a transit lane system just so that the government can make money."
That's so we can issue fines. Yeah, the buses
Exactly.
running around issuing fines.
our system.
Charlie Torito is with Hayden AI, a startup
Yeah,
developing
Hayden AI. Now, that's a new company. It's a startup that does just this. Imagine, bro, a guy went, hang on a second, AI is here. Let's make a startup. Let's just fit this stuff into buses and just charge
But
the
that's
government
what I'm
money.
talking
Bro.
about. The world's biggest bottleneck is about to begin, right? Which is
Yeah.
compute power and energy. Like all this
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, the compute power that will be required for some of these.
Yeah.
smart enforcement technologies using AI and machine learning. Already, their cameras are installed in buses in New York City and soon Washington, D.C. As buses drive their routes, special cameras capture the license plates of cars that shouldn't be there.
Our cameras are able to be accurate to within 10 centimeters. We know if a vehicle is moving or whether a vehicle's stopped.
The cameras are on the windshield. They're capturing what's happening in the bus lane. That information is being sent to a brain right here, which is using AI to process what's happening in real time. During Santa Monica's 45-day pilot, the system identified more than 500 potential violations. A fine is nearly $300.
We don't make any more or any less, depending on the number of violations that are captured.
While it seems like AI might be an excuse to print money, cities
It
say
is
the
an
real
excuse to print
point
money,
is to get
brother,
buses
brother.
moving, reduce emissions, and entice more people to ride.
Don't make
Our
any
goal is
more or
not to
less
issue
money. What do you
citations,
mean
but our
less?
goal is
Not
to
make
change
less
behavior.
money. Oh, man. Seriously, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro,
bro.
this is like
no
this
matter-
is that GIF, you know, the one where the mind is blown.
It's like,
It's happening to me right now. Like this is just one possibility out of like thousands or millions of opportunities. Because Iman Mustaq, right? Someone asked him in a podcast interview that, what do you recommend for today, 20-year-old person?
drop everything and get into AI.
And he says, drop everything and just do AI. Because it'll be $1 trillion going into that. You can see it'll go.
Yeah.
AI warfare is another one, mate. I'm going to do some... Yeah, we'll talk about it soon.
We will definitely. So that's that. And now on to a bit more, something a little bit more interesting. I'll share this with you. This is Tesla's answer to... Sorry, this is Amazon's answer to Starlink. Project Kuiper.
I really think that people want to live in nature. They want to be out in the mountains. They want to be where they play. This is Cleellum. It's kind of a little hole, so it feels very off-grid, which is great, why a lot of people move over here. The assumptions that we didn't have money to afford internet was not the case at all.
And bro, one thing I'm actually discovering, right, is that a lot of the technological adoption, a lot of the technological revolution is actually happening in the small towns. Like you go to some small towns away from the big cities, a lot of these small towns, you will see that they have like some really high-tech payment systems and methods of accepting payment. Like I went to this lawyer guy today, right here in this small town. Bro, the guy had Square. He had like the whole Square payment platform.
Yeah. Kebab shops, man, they use Square now.
Yeah, like most of the cafes here, I've seen them with that little the square tile thing, in front of them.
It's cheaper.
And I was just reading, I was thinking, okay, so you guys are actually not even approaching the banks for this stuff, for like the FPOS systems and whatever. No, it's all Square.
Yeah, but the bank is at a fundamental level still involved. Though.
People come.
Yeah, the bank is involved. Yeah, I know.
Bank is still involved, but it's just less hassle to be the fucking bank.
Yeah.
Easier to deal with Square.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I know. The bank is more regulated, more difficult to deal with. Yeah, I know. Anyway.
Out here enjoying all the outdoors, whether it be snowmobiling, mountain biking, off-roading.
Quite a few people move out to this area because it's gorgeous, but people are reluctant to open small businesses due to the lack of reliable internet.
We've lived here for like almost 30 years. The little community that we're in is trying very hard to get just internet, but it's hard.
Like there are 2 or 3 things I want to say at the beginning. This is a rare opportunity.
Our own brown man is in the house.
Rajiv bhai.
Rajiv bhai. Sat Sri Akal.
As on the lives of people is really unprecedented at the scale.
About half the world's population lack connectivity or access to good connectivity.
Fact check that thing. I don't think it's half. I think it's like maybe 45% is like not able to get good connectivity.
And we know what a difference that internet connectivity can make in people's lives. Access to shopping, access to healthcare, access to education.
It's all actually about Amazon trying to get people to access Amazon so they can sell more shit on Amazon. That's what it is. That's what basically this is. Because you have access to internet, right? The first thing you'll do is you'll try to automate your pantry. That's what you'll try to do.
Ask yourself, why aren't the rural areas connected? And the answer is very simple. It's not cost effective. It would have been done by now, but it isn't.
Project Kuiper is setting out to extend high-quality broadband internet access by implementing a constellation of satellites in low Earth orbit.
Constellation of satellites? So this is
Same thing what
literally...
Starlink has done, but I guess now they've pivoted because they want to do space tourism. Jeff Bezos and Amazon.
Yeah.
And that now they realize, all right, you know what? It's not probably viable in terms of business.
So they're pivoting to this now.
Retailable.
So now basically every single major corporation, for everybody who's on the call, everybody who's listening to us, all of 3 people who are listening to us, all the major tech brands are now trying to become whatever was happening in James Bond, The World Is Not Enough. Okay?
Yeah.
All the major tech brands are trying to send satellites up there with God knows what in them, in the guise of trying to give us good internet. But we have no clue what they're actually trying
communities.
to do.
Yeah.
We have no clue what they actually have on those satellites.
Well, I mean, energy, water supply, and internet. If these 3 things can reach rural areas, it'll expand the scope. It'll increase the amount of population can sit on this planet.
Exactly. No, 100%.
It'll reduce all the load that is taking place on all these metro urban areas.
No, 100%. But at the same time, I'm only concerned about, all right, you've got the internet stuff in there. What else have you got on those satellites? What else is there? Like, are there cameras down? Are there cameras on it? Are you actually going to be monitoring people? And are you going to be like feeding that information back to the government somehow? Like, are you
It's like what Robert De Niro says in that movie Ronin. When there's doubt, there's no doubt.
When there's doubt, there is no doubt. Yeah. Anyway, so this is
3,236 satellites.
236 satellites. That is like their initial aim. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's a project.
The Kuiper constellation is ultimately going to serve a variety of customers, residential broadband customers, small and medium businesses and enterprises. We need to be able to deliver connectivity all over the world in a very short period of time.
Even just right here in our backyard, right outside Redmond, there are areas where there is no internet connection or extremely poor connection, and we can make a huge impact like right away.
I've been a council member for 4 years. My family's 5 generations from Roslyn, Washington, and Clallam. We have one option for internet over here. It would be great to see a different service come in to see if that would increase the availability, the reliability of it.
Only got one option, only got AT&T. That's all you got.
That's what you
got. Of growth in our area due to lack of constant internet.
How big are the roads over there, bro? Look at the width on those.
Yeah, bro. Because
trucks.
They have to accommodate those massive trucks, bro.
Yeah, Australia, man, roads are really tiny, man.
So this is kind of the hub of town. We have been here 20 years. So if anyone's
Across the planet, they're traveling from miles and miles away just so they can access internet. So then you pull back and you say, how do we get these folks connected? And the right technology to do that is satellites. Typically, big satellites go into the geostationary orbits at 36,000 kilometers.
The MEO satellites are anywhere between 2 and 35,000 kilometers off the surface of the Earth. Kuiper is operating down around 600 kilometers off the surface of the Earth.
If we were flying higher, then we can have fewer, but the latency would be higher.
Being able to go out and deliver access to the internet for people who don't have it today, you can't really imagine.
Bro, the era is coming where there's going to be a huge number of companies that are going to basically go into orbit and clean up the orbit, the trash that is around the orbit.
Like that anime Planetus.
Planetus, there you go. That's what I was talking about. There's going to be an era. There's going to be a time when you're going to be like, you're going to be a person who's going to fly up there, get onto a station, stay there for like 3 months, do your rotation for 3 months, cleaning up crap like from space.
It's like when the teacher asks young kids, like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, oh, I want to be a firefighter. What do you want to be? I want to be a policeman. What do you want to be? Oh, I want to go into space and clean trash. It's like,
I want to be a space trash man.
It will be the future version of working on an oil rig.
Basically,
going up in space and cleaning up trash. It will be the future version of
working on an oil rig,
equivalent to that.
Although nowadays children don't actually say that. Nowadays children say, oh, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a TikTok star. That's what children say, bro.
Yeah, so
it's come a long way, bro.
Thing is that I was talking to someone, and a lot of people don't realize that our way of working is influenced by the tech companies. The tech companies decide how we work, how we do business, how we do anything, how we communicate with our parents, with our relatives, everything. So I think that influencing will evolve based on different platforms. Social media platforms coming in.
Gotta wear that mask, bro. Gotta wear that mask.
Yeah, gotta wear that mask, bro.
Anyway, I'll stop it right here. But yeah, so Amazon is now seriously contending to be in the internet, like in the satellite internet space.
There are a couple of companies. There's a British firm as well that is also looking at low orbital satellites. But the thing is that I think the problem is that there's just not enough competition. In reality, Starlink and all that, there's just two of them.
Because bro, you need infrastructure to actually build satellites, bro. So it's not like, and then you also need like the infrastructure to launch them. So it's not like I'm gonna build my own satellite, right? I'm gonna use SpaceX to launch it. SpaceX be like, oh hello, what you doing, mate? SpaceX is gonna be like, nah, mate.
They could do that, but the problem is that how much space junk already exists out there, and then you introduce more junk into it, without any way to figure out what is the recycling process on that and how do we, decommission these satellites. Like, how does it, like, I'm sure, actually, you know what, I'm giving them too much credit. Maybe they haven't thought about that.
No, I don't think so.
Remains to be seen what they're going to do. Yeah. What's next, man?
Well, I have this app called Truecaller, which is very popular in India. Apparently, okay, let me just set the stage a little bit. Apparently in Southeast Asia, India and subcontinent and, Malaysia, Indonesia, spam calling is a big problem. So you will just get spam called maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 times a day for stuff that you probably, will never need. Spam calling is things like, telemarketing or somebody who's trying to upsell stuff to you or, calls that you don't need. And I remember you and I, we were having a conversation about how, I think this conversation came from the whole, the concept that the movie star is dead. The movie star is dead because everybody in the world has access to the movie star via Twitter or via Instagram or something. And then there was that whole era where movie stars were considered to be this sort of out of reach ideal simply because they were unreachable. And to that effect, even in our daily lives,
the studios controlled and
the studios controlled their image and how they were reached and who to talk to reach them and all that kind of stuff. But we were saying, like, look, to some extent, that used to happen in our lives as well. Like back in the 80s or back in the 90s, you didn't have so much access to people. So people could actually get stuff done. There was like so much more productivity happening because you just didn't have direct access to somebody. And it was our whole idea was like, look, we should probably start limiting our access to people. And like then the whole conversation kind of spiraled out into, should we just delete our Facebook, or should we delete our Instagram, should we delete our LinkedIn, social media platforms and all that. So this is one app in India that's actually trying to solve this whole limit. I want to limit who has access to me, but it's trying to solve that in a more direct way by saying, okay, we're going to be targeting spam calls. So this app is named Truecaller. It has like 5 million installs already in India, which is like a huge deal. But it's a Scandinavian company. But they have like they have such a huge presence in India that they have majority of their employees are actually all in India. So I'll just play this thing, and it's called the Truecaller AI assistant.
Yeah.
The call to be attended by yourself. So let's see how this works. So this is the custom settings available in the assistant. So let's see how this works when a call comes in. So I'm right now making a call to my number. So I can see here, you can see that the caller ID, and you can see there is an option send to assistant. Since I'm using a full screen caller ID, it is available at the bottom. So I'm just clicking this.
Hi, you are now talking to the digital assistant of Nirmal.
So the voice message is already played out here. Can I talk to him?
Okay, please hold. I'll be right with you.
So I can say what is the next step. So I'll just ask, who is this?
Hey, may I ask who's calling?
This is a friend.
Okay, please hold. I'll be right with you.
So it'll just ask, you can just ask the next question.
May I ask for the reason for the call?
This is for a meeting.
Okay, please hold. I'll be right with you.
So it actually says this is for a meeting. So if I want to accept the call, I just go here and accept it. And if I want to disconnect, or you can say no, not interested, call me later. So all this option is there.
So
that guy, was it his own voice, AI generated?
Yeah. No, it wasn't in his own voice.
It sounded a lot like that fella,
It does, but the thing is the AI voice assistant, it has there's 4 options to choose from. There's 2 male voices and 2 female voices, and you can also choose the ethnicity of the voice. So you can choose whether you want it to be American, you want it to be Indian, and it has those options in there. And it was really interesting to just see.
Dangerous.
It was, and this is the thing. This is actually not fully AI driven yet. The new AI software, it just dropped today. So that thing, I'm waiting for that thing somebody to make a video on that. So this is just like a prototype. It's just it was like a beta testing kind of thing. And I was already impressed by it. I was like, shit, why didn't Google do this shit? Why didn't Google build this kind of crap?
Yeah. So is this like a Scandinavian startup you were talking about, right?
It's a Scandinavian company, Truecaller.
Yeah.
But they are so popular in the subcontinent that they literally just have all their employees over there. So most of the people who are developing this app now are Indian. And it was so good because I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, man, I would love this kind of service.
Scandinavians love having an assistant. That's why I don't understand. Can you imagine if
you want to talk to anybody,
if iCloud Plus, the iPhone introduces this feature?
I wish they do, bro. I hope they do. No, because that's the thing.
Man.
The only way for iPhone now to really differentiate themselves in this post-AI era is to provide services like this, where your phone can screen your calls.
Okay, stupid question.
Yeah.
Why have the AI in the first place when you can talk to the person yourself? Because you still have to deal with all that.
You don't want to talk to them, bro. It's easier to tap rather than to answer the call, have that whole awkwardness, and the guy will be like, "Sir, have you heard? Have you seen? Have you got this call? Sir, I'm calling from some freaking. Oh, I'm getting a lot of calls from Cloud Campus. Your Cloud Campus, that freaking place. I keep telling them, delete my phone, and bro, I just keep getting somebody calling from them every few days. It's like, sir, I'm calling from your Cloud Campus. Do you have? And they have this whole spiel, right, that they have to go through. You kind of feel obligated.
Even if you try to interrupt them, they'll keep going.
Yeah. Even if you try to stop them and say, "Oh, hang on," and they just talk over you, and they don't listen to you. So you have to. So you do either one of two things. If you're a really rude person, you just cancel the call there, or you try to get to them and say, "Hey, you know what? I don't want to be called. Stop calling me. Blah blah blah." And they say, "Yes, okay, thank you," and then they just forget about that anyway. In this way, what happens is it's like a huge interrupt for them. If they call and you don't pick up, and there's this assistant answering on your behalf, even the other guy goes like, "Oh, hang on a second, what's happening?" You know, their whole flow gets disrupted, and your flow remains relatively unaffected because all you're doing is just tapping a couple of buttons here and there to say, "Yep, I want to," like, well, who is this? What is happening? And it's very, it's kind of
That
like
is innovative, bro. That's
this whole experience is kind of like, you know, when you go to a doctor, right? When you go to the doctor's office, you have a receptionist, and you have the doctor sitting inside, right? You go to the doctor and you get seen by the doctor. The doctor prescribes you medication and all that stuff. You walk out. You don't pay the doctor. You pay the receptionist. So if there is some kind of issue that happens in the future, the friction, you will not actually say, "Oh, it's your doctor who caused the friction." You will say, "No, it's this is the receptionist that caused the problem." Do you get what I mean? Your optics of the doctor
You're
are
separating yourself from the
exactly separating yourself from the process.
You create a gatekeeper, a personal assistant gatekeeper.
Exactly, which is perfect.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I want. I want a personal assistant gatekeeper. I don't want to talk to anybody and everybody. I want to be like, "Yeah, mate, who's this for? Who's calling me? You know, why are you calling me?" It's amazing. I don't know if the service works in Australia or not. I haven't tried it, and I'm kind of honestly a bit skeptical about installing this app on my phone.
Stuff, man. Yeah, it'll be good to. It's always exciting and fun to see that how when someone comes with a bit of innovation in a certain area, creates a niche for themselves.
Yeah.
The big companies, how they come in and how they basically.
See, but this is the thing. This is what Google promised us. This is what Google promised us with the Google Assistant a couple of years ago. Yeah. We haven't really seen that.
They all promise all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but we haven't seen that. This is the first time
the next Siri, the next version of Siri
it has to do something like this.
It's going to be revolutionary. It will be.
I'm hoping.
I hope it is revolutionary. Not because I'm an Apple fanboy, but I just think for the industry, it's important that a consumer, a prosumer product has a very high
something
level,
exciting.
Exciting feature that kind of just propels the entire industry to start focusing on it. Like I think with Apple Pros, the Vision Pro, it'll definitely now that's mainstream. We're going mainstream now.
Vision Pro is going to be
reality, all that. Yeah, it's going to knock everything out of the park. You know, so
definitely.
And a lot of companies are going to come in thinking that, you know what, let's make third party. Dude, you know, you have to understand, right? It's because Apple Vision Pro, it's within the real space. And it has augmentation. Can you think the amount of add-ons that are going to come out for that? The apps, not only in the in the virtual space, but in the physical space, there will be apps now. I mean, they'll have physical products that will sit inside that will pair with your Apple Pro, and
100%.
Possibilities are just endless.
100%. I'm guessing what's going to happen is
it's going to change a lot of the industry actually.
Yeah, what I'm actually more interested in is version 2 or version 3 of that headset. The one that will come out
and
for
even
everybody.
Facebook is going to come out one. Facebook
No, Facebook 100%. Facebook is already ahead of the curve in this area. They have more actual installed base and actual feedback from real customers. So what I'm actually more interested in is when Apple releases a second or third version. Number one, number two. The first thing that's going to be there is going to be lighter, obviously, because battery technology is going to become better. And I'm actually more interested not in the first launch version, I'm actually interested in the second or the third version, because even with the Apple iPhone, yes, when it dropped, the iPhone 3 when it dropped, it was super popular, but it didn't get ubiquitous until iPhone 4. And especially when the iPhone 4S came out, because that was like the very first, that refresh of the existing product that was better than the base product that was released. That really, iPhone 4S, I'm not sure what the sales numbers are, but I'm definitely sure that the iPhone 4S actually sold the most when it among all the iPhones that came out. I'm guessing 100%. I'm 100% sure because, bro, you were finding iPhone 4Ss with like everyone. Like my auntie who didn't know how to use phones, she had it. Like my younger cousins, they all had like the iPhone 4S. So everywhere I looked, there was an iPhone 4S. It was, I don't think the iPhone became ubiquitous until the 4S. So it's probably going to be like the
4S. I think were the most perfect phones ever created.
The size was perfect.
They had the biggest impact.
Yeah.
It's perfect sizing, biggest impact, one of the best cameras that you can
Yeah,
play
the
on
App Store
phone.
had matured insanely up until that
Yeah.
point. So I'm saying the Vision Pro, the very first Vision Pro is not going to be that great. It's going to be
Yeah, it'll
amazing.
the second or the third one.
It'll be the third or the second or the third one that'll have like an S model next to it. That'll be like it'll just take off. That will be like,
Or they'll
yeah.
work their way downwards. No, they'll have the Pro and then they'll go with the SE
Yeah,
or
yeah.
the S or the whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple version.
Anyway, that's all I
right.
have
So
for today.
I think we've covered pretty much most of the things on the list.
The only thing we haven't covered is the riot stuff that you were talking about.
Yeah, so I guess for people who are interested, there is a link that we'll place in the chat that you can read about. So a story did break out about riots happening in a
Manipur.
part of the state in Manipur in India, and has been going on since May, and now it's kind of picking up steam because a lot of people have reported on it. Apart from
It's
all
been
the
going on
atrocities
since
happening
May.
and the communal violence, yeah, man, it's been going
2
on since May.
months?
So a lot of the
Holy shit.
communal, yeah, bro, yes, yeah, and a lot of the communal violence and a lot of the political background as to why it's happening. If you read the article, it's in there. The focus is basically, yes, I mean, we're not trying to avoid the issue. Just to be transparent, I'm just interested in the impact of how the impact of technology actually as to what role it has to play in terms of this happening. So the story did break on the internet. So all the mainstream media did not kind of cover it, and the internet is the platform where this lady broke the news, right? And the link is in the description. And top of that, even that is not the main point of my discussion, right? The main point was that the way the thing broke out was there were rumors circulating about rapes happening, people getting killed, whatnot, and someone decided to actually investigate it. Now, this lady and her team started investigating, and they found out that most of it was just fake news, fabricated images. So I think you understand where I'm trying to get at, right? This incited the rumors, and sometimes it's just the perfect storm that is brewing politically and socially, and within the midst of that, the tadka, I would say,
The spark.
is that the spark that kind of blew this whole thing
Lit
wide
everything on
open
fire.
was this rumors, and it just lit up the whole thing, and it was just these rumors and fake news and the news fabricated in the sense that it's happened in the past, and they repurposed those images, and that narrative has been kicked in again, and that has just sparked an entire.
This actually,
it's a state of emergency in that state at the
Yeah.
moment, and the prime minister has actually commented on it, and a bunch of people have got involved, saying that guys take action.
Dude, if this was happening 2
people-
months ago, what was Modi doing like traveling all over the world, man? That's what the hell?
I'm not sure what was going
That's
on.
interesting,
So,
man.
and
Wow,
I think
okay.
and I think it's interesting, and I think you could read up on it, but I have not read enough to comment on it. But my main understanding is that what is interesting to me is that in the future, there's a huge amount of population around the world that has no idea about AI. Like my dad, he has a fuck all idea what AI can do and what its power is, right?
But bro, that's because there's
AI generated imagery and everything. People have a intricate gut feeling that this is fake.
innate, yeah.
But it's just very hard to spot. Yeah, innate feeling that it could be fake.
Bro, especially with
But it's just
Midjourney,
very
bro.
hard for.
I've been trying Midjourney for the last week and a half. Oh my god, bro! If you give it like, I'll show you some. Okay, hang on. I'll actually show you some stuff that I did on Midjourney, and I couldn't believe.
Yeah, basically
like, how-
deep fakes, and just to end this, like deep fakes and fabrication in news has been there, but the next level is that within fake news, when you start using imagery and videos to generate fake content, or it can spark rumors very fast. There's a new Desi movie that's come out actually with Nawazuddin Siddiqui, and it's on it's on Netflix. I've not seen it, but a lot of people are talking about it. It's got rave reviews. Now it's Afwa. Afwa is basically an Urdu word for rumors. Okay, and the whole lesson of the movie is basically about a small rumor starts, and that just catches like wildfire.
Just catches
So
like
the whole movie is
wildfire.
based on. Yeah, and a lot of people have told me like, "Oh man, you gotta watch it and everything." But that movie could not have come at a more opportune time, right? So these riots happening, and then this movie comes out, and like, my God, like the similarities of what is being discussed right now in that movie and what's going on there is just astounding. that's what kind of sometimes feel we're living in a simulation.
Living in the Matrix.
Yeah, when you watch all this and you look at the Mission Impossible movie that just came on and everything, you're thinking like, man, someone's fucking with me, So anyway, go ahead and share, bro. What do you want to show?
Hang on. I think I made a mistake here. Just one sec. All right. So I just wanted to share, like, the way I created some stuff. Like I was experimenting on Midjourney on the weekend, and I created some like really interesting images. This was after like I spoke to my brother about like what can be done on Midjourney, and he just didn't believe me. And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hang on a second, buddy. I'll show you what can be done." And he was like, "Holy crap! Like this is." Because it's like one of those things where when people tell you all right, do you see
Nice.
this? Okay, so this wasn't how it started. The way it started was like this.
Oh, steak
Okay?
and eggs.
I'll show you steak and eggs as well, but this is how it started. So it started with I was trying to do steak and eggs. That was a different thing, but I was trying to do some kind of like fantasy map thing. I don't know. In my brain, it just came up like
Yeah, I know what you
think
mean.
of fantasy
Something like
map,
out of
you
a
know?
Brandon Sanderson novel or something.
Yeah, something like that. So I did that. I was like, okay, can this thing generate like a fantasy map? Can it actually do that? So I threw it in there. I was like, okay, fantasy map, large, flat, pencil drawing, and 7 continents. Okay. And it did it. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the back over there. So there's 7 continents, and it drew like a perfect pencil drawing of like a whole freaking map. Then I was like, can it do it in like color? Can it do it like in full color? And yeah, bro, it did it in color. And it generated a different map this time around with more stuff on there. And I said, this time I used the word dense. And I had like ships and
So what's that line in the
cities
middle?
and-
What's that line in the middle?
No, that's just like a reflection thing. Okay, it's like it's thinking it's a book, so it's thinking it's like a double page. So what I did was I generated a map, and then I said zoom out. I used the zoom out feature, and then it did this, where it did like this nice circular thing. I was like, bro, this is pretty. This is freaking amazing. And I just took a screenshot. I just stored this stuff.
I mean, I guess if you want to add more layers to it as to different kind of
You can make the prompt even more.
geozones.
Yeah.
The more detail you add to it, the more it'll.
100%. The more detail you add to it, the more specific it becomes. Then out of all that, I said, okay, let's look at like. Then what I did was I said, this is one side of the map. I was like, what will the other side look like, right? So I tried to do another prompt, and then I was like, okay, imagine beyond the mountains, like in this one. You go beyond the mountains, you go like beyond the mountains here, and you come to the other side of the world, and that's what this looks like, And like I was really getting into it for some reason, and then I was like, okay, bro, stop it, hang on, let's just like step back. And then on the weekend, I met my brother. My brother is like a big carnivore, so he's like a steak and eggs kind of guy. So he only thinks steak and eggs, everything is steak and eggs. So when I told him this app and everything, and he's like, bro, can I do steak and eggs? I'm like, let's try. So we started with this.
Oh man.
Okay. So the this thing is plate of sizzling meat, porterhouse steak, eggs, and I think it's potatoes or some stuff like that. And it came with all this stuff. It's like it's unbelievable. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, if you're like a small mom and pop store and you want to if you have a small restaurant
Yeah.
and you want to create a menu, this is the way you go.
This is the way you go. And then out of that, this one intrigued me the most. This one right here. So what we did was okay, fine, let's upscale it. And
But
when
what
you
happens to
upscale
food
it,
photography now, bro? It's like, what happens to food photography now?
look, food photography will still be there. I think the original art will still be there. I just think that now if somebody like myself, right, and me, like if I want to just get inspiration for some kind of food item.
Yeah,
I
but
can now
why
do
would
that.
you want inspiration when you can get the whole thing, right? It's like,
That's
you
true.
get the whole
No, that's
steak
true.
and eggs.
It's true.
Why would you want to
100%.
just, yeah. I mean, look at it. It looks so real, bro. I mean,
Look at those eggs, bro.
Look at
Like,
the
those
sear
eggs.
marks. Look at the sear.
The
Look at
sear
the
marks.
searing
Yeah,
of
I know.
the steak, bro.
It's
This is
amazing.
dangerous, bro.
So, bro,
Yeah, it's amazing and yet like terrifying.
it's terrifying.
I've
It's
never
really
been terrified to look at a photograph of a steak ever before.
I know, bro. I saw this and I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is can't fathom anymore how good this stuff
I'm
is.
getting hungry, man. So I think after this call, I'm gonna go get a steak.
Get a steak, bro.
Some rib
Get a steak. Steak
sauce,
is the best thing ever, bro.
Pepper sauce.
Pepper steak, you know. Anyway,
Get a lamb chop.
so the whole point of me showing that was because that's how real it is, okay? And now imagine you're saying that these riots happened because of something somebody dug up like a while back and they showed. Imagine if somebody just used photos. And here's the thing, bro. In Midjourney, you can use something known as a seed photo, which means
What's a seed photo?
a seed photo is a photo that you provide Midjourney, and then you tell Midjourney, using this photo, generate more content. That is dangerous.
I think that's where the problem is. I think that previously, in the last episode, or I think previously offline, we were talking that how celebrity photographs are being AI generated into different environments and, with nudity and risque kind of.
Yeah. I
shots
remember
being
that.
created
Rumi,
using I think that's what they're probably doing.
They're probably using seed photos. I'm guessing so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was
because I think you can't generate those kind of photographs using Midjourney. I think it will not allow you because it's not safe.
No, but Midjourney allows seed photos.
The
It's
standard
just that-
terms and agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about without seed photos. I don't know.
But Midjourney in general, it has like a filter. It actually stops you from doing a lot of risky stuff. Although people on Facebook and Instagram, like when they're sharing their prompts and what prompts they did to get certain risque photos, a lot of people who want the risky stuff, they're actually using stable diffusion. So they're using Stability AI. Because Stability AI runs off the compute of whatever it is that you've installed it on. So it can take a long time. So if you have it on...
Yeah, so it can take a long time. But
so if you have it on like a Mac, it'll take like a long time.
That's why I understand when I look at those photographs, some of them, they look like more hand-drawn paintings rather than photorealistic.
Yeah, but that's also because
images,
Stability
like the way
AI...
Midjourney create. That's because the compute power or whatever. Yeah.
No, Stability AI is not trained on models. What happens is when you download Stability AI, you have to actually provide it the data set to be trained on.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Or at least I think that's how it works. Because Stability AI is just like a little application you just download. You
It's a
run it off
platform.
your
It's not
computer.
a service that. Okay.
So yeah,
It's not a
and then
service.
you basically train it, I think, to actually run what it needs to run.
Wow.
At
So
least
if
I
I
think
actually
that's-
feed my entire photo library of my family to Stability AI,
Then you can
I
create
could
all
create a
kinds of
photograph
photos.
of me standing in Hawaii or
Technically,
something. Yeah.
technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Type
how it used to be like, this person is not here. We'll Photoshop him in later. That's how they used to say.
That's
Now
what's gonna
like,
happen, yeah.
Now we'll we'll use stability and put him in later.
That's what Ice Cube is saying. Ice Cube appeared on Piers Morgan the other day, and he said that it's horrendous what AI is going to do to the creative industry. So he's saying that they can get me to say things I never want to say.
Oh, bro, that's already
Takes
happening.
away the power.
No, that's already happening. AI,
especially after
has-
he's dead. That's what he's worried about.
There's a company. Okay, I forgot what the name of the company is, but the woman who actually worked for Cortana. The lady who gave her voice for Cortana.
The voice, yeah.
No, the Microsoft Windows version of Cortana, not the Halo edition of Cortana.
Yeah.
This lady, she worked for Microsoft. She did her voiceovers for Microsoft's version of Cortana or some kind of an assistant for them. And then her voice somehow ended up on this website where they're basically selling her voice talent from text to speech. And she looked at it and she's like, hang on a second. How did my voice appear over there? I didn't consent to this. So basically these people, they have used other products to train their AI. And now they're selling that whole product to others. So there's like this weird ethical boundary being blurred. Okay. You're basically you're basically training your AI on a product. And then you're using that voice to basically sell your product.
Right.
Yeah, imagine like if you have Jennifer Hale, the actress who played what's her name, Harley Quinn, right, in the Batman animated show. You have Jennifer Hale.
Was it? Okay.
I think it's I can't remember. Or Jennifer Hale played
Was it
one of
Robert
the
Marley?
versions of Harley Quinn or something.
Okay.
So if you take
Oh,
Jennifer
you mean
Hale's voice,
the animation.
voice actress, the animation. I'm not talking about the movie, like the actress.
Yeah.
Jennifer Hale, who voiced her, which is because her voice is super iconic. It's like a very iconic voice. You take Jennifer Hale, and you train the AI on Jennifer Hale's voice, and then you just sell the voice on like this nondescript
but I think
voice
as long as they're
platform.
paying royalties or
but that's not happening.
royalties or they're paying some kind of that's not happening. So that's where the writer's strike and all
Because
that
there is some kind of
into place.
contractual mumbo jumbo that
Actor
actually
strike.
comes in the middle of all this.
Yeah.
Anyway, bro,
Yeah.
I
The
think that's all I
likeness,
have for today.
Yeah. All right, so let's end it on this terrifying note about what is in the future and is what to come and what is already here. Yeah, great session. So see you soon, bro. Next week.
All right. See you guys next week.
See you, man. Bye.
Bye.